So I've been asked by quite a few people to do a quick video about how to get the best from your tomatoes and how to look after them. And a mistake a lot of people I've found make is not side shooting. So basically, pretty much three types of tomatoes should be growing. The most popular type is a cordon, which is grown straight up a straight stem. A bush variety, which is, as the name suggests, much bushier, or a tumbling variety that you'd have in something like a hanging basket, tend to be the cherry tomatoes. So I grow cordons, and you can see them here. So they were started off a couple of months ago now, and I've got various varieties, but they are all cordons, and so they want to be growing up a straight stem. And what is really important is that you side shoot the tomatoes, otherwise they become misshapen and you get less fruit. So I've planted these in a multi-purpose compost, and they're not actually tomato rings, but in effect in a tomato ring. So these are pots with the bottoms cut off, and that just gives them a head start in some nice fresh compost, because if you grow in the same soil year after year, viruses do build up with tomatoes, which you don't want and is problematic. So using a tomato ring works really well. So these are planted down. What I like to do is I like to string them up to a vine eye in the greenhouse, but you could just as easily use a cane to get that straight cordon stem. And you can see here that the first trusses of the tomatoes have started to set fruit. The first trusses have started to flower on these tomatoes, have not actually set fruit yet. So what I'm going to show you is how to side shoot the tomatoes, and this one here is a good example. So what we want to be aiming for is a straight stem up the string here. So this would be the leader here, but if you're getting there, you can see this here is a side shoot in between the leaf axil and the main stem, and we don't want this side shoot. That's a little flowers come in, but this side shoot we don't want. So I'm going to pinch that side shoot out there and take that away to maintain the cordon, to maintain the straight stem. Same again here. You can see it growing in off the main stem here in this first leaf. Pinch that out. And if you don't do this, they lose their shape and you won't get such a heavy yield. So I'm pinching those out there. The best time to pinch out your tomatoes is in the morning when they're turgid, which means they're more full of water and it's easier. These shoots will break off more easily in the morning. If they're too thick to pinch, then it is better to use secateurs so that you don't damage the plant. And then what you'll do is you'll tie in or loop them around in the evening when they're much more flexible. So just keep your eye on them. You can see here a side shoot. So I'm just going to pinch that out, and they'll keep coming, those side shoots, and you just regularly want to be pinching them out there. And you should have been feeding your tomatoes all the way through their growth, but as soon as they've set their first truss of flowers, which this has here, I'm just going to remove this bottom leaf because it's discolouring a bit. You want to be starting to feed with a high potash fertiliser, and the potash, the potassium, is what we need for flowering performance. Obviously means you're going to get more fruit. So regular feeding at least every 10 days with a high potash fertiliser. A specific tomato feed is great, and you can get organic tomato feeds as well. Another tip is be consistent with your watering. What tomatoes really don't like is inconsistent watering. So you want even watering. Don't let them dry out, but at the same time don't saturate them either. And it's actually good to use a tepid water as opposed to freezing cold water out of the tap. So keep a watering can filled up and top them. That just helps the fruit and stops it splitting. Another thing to consider if you're growing in a greenhouse is high humidity. So to set the fruit on the tomatoes, you could mist the flowers lightly, or I like to damp down my greenhouse, shut the door, leave it for an hour, so really increase that humidity, and that helps set the flowers. So follow those tips for a bumper crop of tomatoes this year.